Welcome, everybody, to another Microsoft Unboxed pod. This is episode 61. I am your host today, Kareem Anderson. I'm joined by.
David Allen, 61. Hope everybody's doing well. Got some interesting stuff today, so I'm going to let you jump into some headlines and we'll talk a little more about them.
Yeah, sort of a quiet week for Microsoft, but not, still enough news to have a podcast. Again, we want to thank you guys for joining us. Today, we're going to be talking about uh, Microsoft's new push to get Office 365 up and running with even more Copilot AI enabled features. They've tagged the CEO of LinkedIn to help run this, and we have our thoughts about what this means as far as the future of Office 365, if we need more AI in it, and what is Microsoft's rush to add even more AI to Office. We're also going to be talking about Photoshop finally showing up on Android, particularly, I guess, in mobile phones. But if you have a tablet, which I was just reminded, probably might be a good way to test it out. We're going to kind of walk you through our own personal experiences with the app. We also going to be talking about another Android-related thing, where Edge on Android will now require soon will require a fingerprint in order to get into private tabs, which is great if you want to keep whatever you're looking at in private mode secret. The other thing we got is the Xbox Showcase. Just a quick reminder that this weekend Microsoft will be showing off some games, just like I believe Sony showed off some games this week, and Nintendo released their Switch 2. So it's a full week of gaming, and we'll have a recap of all that stuff next week for you guys. But we're going to talk about what we think might be shown this weekend. And then we have kind of a controversial story. Microsoft backed a $1.5 billion AI startup in India. But unfortunately, it wasn't AI. It was just humans that they said were AI. And that company is now looking like it's about to go bankrupt. So we'll talk about Microsoft's decision making as of late when it comes to AI and what that means for the future if they make bad calls like this. Last, we'll be talking about our free play days. What kind of games are you guys should be looking into if you have an Xbox Game Pass account. And then what we're going to be playing or doing this weekend. It's a week before Father's Day, I believe. So we have that kind of slow week where nothing, weekend where you're not being bombarded by a capitalist holiday. So you can go out and just enjoy it for what it is. I've said enough. I'm going to let you get into our first story, which is, actually, I think the first story is actually mine. So I'm going to make it brief, though, and I'll let you talk about it, which is the Microsoft CEO, Microsoft tagging the LinkedIn CEO to help speed up AI in Office. It's again another shuffle move. This following, which is a story we didn't really cover, we're not covering on the pod, but it is something we wrote about. You can go check our website for it. Another 600 people were laid off at Microsoft earlier this week, or I believe late last week. And again, this is all part of a shuffle to try and optimize and get in alignment all their AI cloud stuff. So this news about the LinkedIn CEO, Ryan Roslansky, I believe, follows that news. He'll be overseeing Office products, including Word and Excel, along with AI-powered Copilot Assistant. Roslansky will maintain his role as CEO of LinkedIn, so he'll be doing double duty, but he'll also be reporting to Suleiman, which is the CEO of Microsoft AI. If you just want a quick overview of his kind of credentials, he co-founded Housing Media, which is one of the first internet-based real estates and rental classification directories. He eventually went on to help with the acquisition of Yahoo. He then also, I think in May 2009, was recruited to LinkedIn as one of Jeff Weiner's first hires after Weiner became CEO. He has various leadership roles within the company, but he's been, there for the most part. So he's moved up the ladder. What kind of made his name big and kind of probably promoted him beyond, middle management was his part in getting one of the biggest acquisitions LinkedIn's ever had, which is Lynda, I believe, lynda.com. the like learning platforms. So if you are on LinkedIn and you're trying to get certified for certain things, or you want to learn about a specific skill or certification, Linda is where you would go for that kind of stuff. Anyway, according to Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, this move is part of a broader AI-first strategy. The goal is to unify leadership and accelerate the integration of AI across all of Microsoft's suites and productivity and professional networking applications. What do you think about Microsoft asking this guy to do double duty? I mean, LinkedIn's kind of been doing fine on its own. It's been generating enough revenue to be positive on the earnings chart. Why get this guy to start running Office 365?
Maybe they just wanted somebody to take a fresh look at it. Just somebody a little different and say, look, we know you're CEO of LinkedIn. Take a look at our Office 365 AI from your standpoint and tell us what you think. And that may be something that, we've talked about it before. People are throwing darts at the dartboard to see what's going to make AI stick with consumers. So that we may see more of that. We may start to see, people from other Google divisions or people from other Amazon divisions, say, hey, come over here and take a look at our AI, or even Apple, for example. Say, look, come over here and take a look at our AI. What do you think it needs to succeed? What do you think it needs to get customers' attention? Because your CEO of LinkedIn is seeing what businesses are doing, what consumers are doing, even because everybody, whether you're a CEO of a business or you just run, your own podcast, most people have a LinkedIn profile. And your LinkedIn CEO can go in and take a look and say, hey, our demographic shows that people are doing this. So if you put this in your AI, maybe it will get their attention. So, people could say from a employee standpoint, oh yeah, they're doubling up on employees. So that's, one less person they have to hire, which also may be true. But I think from, a product standpoint, not a bad idea.
I'm in full agreement with you. I know that we see LinkedIn and Microsoft as synonymous, but he is an outsider, just like Suleiman was an outsider. Maybe this is, again, a broader strategy to make sure that Microsoft's optimizing all levers of AI that they may have a blind spot to, because you've worked with Office internally for so long that you, again, not out of negligence, just out of the ability to not see something you've been working on, or your narrow focus on a specific thing. So I'm all for it. My only other question is, it feels like, and I could be wrong, that we're getting enough AI features in Office. What is this? Where is Microsoft feeling that there's a gap that needs to be filled by having even more, or at least expediting the release of more features?
I think you're going to start seeing, and it's fortunate and unfortunate in the same breath. I think you're going to start seeing Copilot actually building documents and building content more so in the Office platform. And, now you can throw something in it and ask it to summarize it, and it does it does a pretty good job. Or you can ask it to help you with an Excel formula, which I have done myself, and it does a pretty good job. But I think as time goes, again, it's unfortunate or fortunate, depending on your viewpoint, we're going to start seeing more AI-generated content. And whether you believe it's right or wrong, if the ship of AI goes that way, everybody's going to go.
I know, I totally agree. I'm going to put this as my last point and we'll move on. I am trusting this only because this is the CEO of LinkedIn. If I'm going to need a resume to be reviewed and fixed by AI, I'm looking to you, man. You're the guy that's going to help me get a job through this. Same thing with Excel docs and whatnot. So this should be in good hands. We're going to move on to our next topic, which is Photoshop on Android phones.
I wanted to talk about this because I think, we're Android users mainly because we like the Microsoft connection, to all the Microsoft tools. Some of the Apple's and Microsoft tools is a little lacking. So Android users finally got what iPad users and iOS users had for a while. We have a version of Adobe Photoshop on Android. Now, we talked about this off mic, but I'm going to run through some quick features here. We have the essentials. You've got your layers. You've got your ability to blend images. You've got the magic wizard. You've got integration of Firefly with the AI magic. You've got your access to your creative assets, which is also somewhat AI driven. You've got advanced control for layers, effects, and blending modes, and being able to adjust your layers. And then you've got, we've got to throw that in-app learning in there for Adobe to supposedly learn how you use the product and offer you better suggestions and better ways to create your documents. But I've got to kind of throw this out there. There's a part for small businesses that are looking for branding. You can do that. You can do the marketing tools, and for content creators such as YouTubers looking the YouTube, what's the name of the graphic that you put up that people click on? It has totally slipped my mind. What's the graphic on the, what do we call that thing? The landing graphic. The landing graphic that people put up that make you click on their video. Like when you go to YouTube, what's the name of that? Yeah, thumbnail. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I could not come up with thumbnail. Sorry, folks. You can create your thumbnails for your social media platforms, your YouTube videos, your TikToks, your Instagrams, etc. But I kind of want to take this a little bit of a different direction. It's out there. You can go in the Google Play Store and download it. But something that we mentioned off mic is this too much like Canva, because I installed it on a Google Pixel tablet. I also installed it on my Samsung S25 Ultra. We do get the Adobe integrations with Firefly and the Adobe Cloud, and being able to save and import your assets from Adobe Cloud that maybe you created on, your PC or your Mac. But for me, it's nice to have something, but it doesn't feel complete. And I feel like this is kind of where Adobe and Android stop. We get these half-baked apps that just don't feel complete. And it certainly doesn't feel as complete or as crisp as the iOS versions, which also seem to be, that seems to be the trend. So do we want to use Photoshop, or do we continue to use our Canva tools?
Well, it's interesting because to your point, I feel like Canva was built to be used on phones. It was built to,
I agree,
like with mobility in mind. It's a very easy drag and drop setup. I believe just like Windows, when you compare Windows to iOS, Windows is very granular, and so is Mac OS. And Photoshop on that works well in those because you have a mouse and you have a pointer, and you can use pen support if you have certain tools to get into those very the nook and crannies of the graphics you're editing. And I feel like the reason why we might feel that Adobe is, not as full-fledged is because, again, they're trying to graph that very granular interface onto a phone, and you lose out on that. Like, again, if I'm editing an image, I have 6.7 inches worth of screen in order to edit that. So I'm zooming in, zooming out, zooming in, zooming out so much. And it almost feels cumbersome. Even when you add layers and you're adding all the functionality and features of an Adobe, it's not, it's going to take twice as much effort to do all of this stuff, it feels like. Whereas on Canva, again, more drag and drop. It has a lot of these features already built into it in very easy and intuitive interfaces. And again, Adobe's, working on it at, the little layer thing at the bottom that you can kind of scroll through each layer. That's cool. And it's nice. I've only used it on a phone. I don't know how it is on the tablet. I'll try and do both, but I've used Canva on a phone, and it works wonders. I can fly through that stuff pretty easily on a tablet just as well, and on a 14-inch screen just as well. I don't think Adobe's there yet. They're going to need to rethink all of the features for mobile and figure out a way to make sure that those get in there again in a UI that's intuitive. Otherwise, again, like I said, you're just people do. I think people make masterpieces and quick edits just using the tools on TikTok and Instagram and with Canva. I don't know if people who use Photoshop are going to be spending all their time on these 6-inch screens. And again, it's been on iOS for a while now, so I'd have to go back and check the numbers on usage and see if this is even something we need to keep reporting on going forward. But that's my take on it. We can move on to the next one if you want.
What you got?
We got Edge finally catching up to Chrome and keeping your privacy and all the weird things you do in private mode. Secret.
What a big surprise!
Yeah, I know, right?
My Microsoft catching up to Chrome. What a surprise!
In other news, right? The sky is blue and water's wet. We got Microsoft Edge on Android is testing a new feature that it's not even here yet. It's just testing. Let you lock your in private mode tabs with a pin or your fingerprints, so that when you're on your phone or when you hand your phone to your friends, they can't just open up your last browsing sessions and be like, "Hey, that's what you look at when you're in private mode." Not judging, just saying. Again, this is something that was on Chrome about 2 years ago, and it again just feels rather intuitive. I think for its part, what Microsoft did was they would black out what was on the screen at the time until you went into the browsing session. So if you're doing like the multitasking, if you went through like the Android, the like sliding multitask windows, whatever in private was on, the screen would be black. That's as far as they got. So now they're adding an extra layer, which again will require thumbprint. I'm assuming face unlock at some point as well, or a pin. What are your thoughts on them finally catching up? Again, testing, so that we don't even know if they'll be like, you know what, we're not going to deliver it. We were testing it. It didn't seem like it was worth it. None of people used it. We're done with it. Or hopefully they say, all right, we got enough testing done. Let's keep all that weird stuff behind your fingerprint.
I think we're going to tell some truth here. People do things in their browsers. People look at content, whether it be banking, whether it be social security numbers, logging into credit card companies, or people looking at pornography. People look at things on their phone that they don't want others to see. They don't want others to know about. That's a reality that we're in.
Yeah.
And I feel like Microsoft being late to the party is a bad oversight here. I think privacy in a browser should be a company's, whether it's Chrome or Microsoft, should be the number one priority, because we continue to push this cloud initiative of we want people doing things in browsers, we want people doing things online. Then it needs to be upfront 100%, or have the user to have the option to be 100% private, no matter what they choose to do.
With that being said, I will ask, why haven't they done this for desktop both, or any company? I don't even just Safari do that.
I don't think so. Well,
I don't think any company does authentication in private mode once the browsing session is ended or paused.
I don't think so. And I think, how many times, let's put it like this. How many times do we look up something on our phones? Or are we paying a bill? Let's use paying a bill. We're paying a bill, and your financial information is private, or who you're paying may need to be private. You put your phone down on your coffee table to go get a drink, and your kid or whatever comes by and wants to watch a YouTube video on mom and dad's phone, and voila, they find that mom and dad are buying an ATV. Maybe you didn't want the kids to know that. Maybe you didn't want the kids to know what mom and dad were surfing about. Maybe mom and dad, I hate to say it, maybe mom and dad are going through rough times. Counseling, or even unfortunately a divorce, and you're looking up things, and maybe your spouse doesn't know that they're about to get divorced. I hate to go down that dark highway, but your kid picks up your device and goes, "Hey, Dad, Mom had this thing about divorce up on her phone today." What? And I feel like, the reality is these things happen. And I think we need ways to keep them private, and it should be across the board PC, tablet, or phone. And it should have been here long before now.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I'm hoping that when they do catch up, that they do apply this to the desktop version. I mean, we have a similar setup already. We have a mechanism for passwords and doing credit card autofills. Remember, in Edge, when you go to fill out something on desktop and you go to use your credit card, it asks you, hey, where's your CV, whatever that number is. And when you go to put that in, it asks you to authenticate to make sure that it's you that's putting this information in, either through fingerprint or through Windows Hello Face ID. So they have the mechanism to do verification to lock something down behind that on the browser side on desktop. So hopefully they'll do that. One last thing, for those of you who are listening, we're looking at a screenshot of the new way that they incorporate the URL at the bottom of the browser, which is something that Chrome doesn't do yet. And for them being late with the privacy thing, they are at least bringing first the reach accessible URL browser down towards the bottom of the screen where your thumb's at, and it's easy to kind of put in your information when you're trying to go to a website. This is something they had on Windows Phone. It seems to be they were testing it, but now whenever I start a new phone or whatever and start Edge from scratch without putting my Microsoft account ID in, they're already saying, "Hey, we've moved this down to the bottom." So we will give them that. Hopefully, others follow suit because phones are getting bigger and taller, and it's harder for our thumbs to reach to the top of the screen. Last thing, well, it's not last thing, but next story. Hype Kick. We got the Xbox Showcase you wanted to talk about.
Yes, I wanted to kind of throw that back out there for our readers because we talked about the Xbox Showcase back in April. Microsoft announced the Xbox Showcase was coming, and just as a reminder, it is Sunday, which might be a little strange for some folks, but it is Sunday, June 8th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's 1 p.m. Eastern time. You're going to get to see what some of these publishers are up to and some of these independent publishers are up to. It is an online event only. You can watch it at YouTube's or the Xbox YouTube channel. You can see it on the Xbox Twitch stream and the Xbox Facebook page. So Microsoft is going to kind of get up there with our indie developers, with some of our third-party developers. It's going to be about 40 minutes long of trailers and information about upcoming titles. It's important to remember afterwards, some of you may remember the Starfield event from a couple years ago when Microsoft started this deeper dive into games. We're doing an Open Worlds 2 direct event, which is directly after the main event where Microsoft is going to dive into the new title and take a deeper dive for Odd Worlds 2. So remember, if you are a content creator, Microsoft is saying, yes, you are welcome to co-stream these events. Enjoy them. Have a good time. But be aware of what you show on your screen and maybe the music being used. Some of these social media platforms may have an issue with your video, with your content for copyrighted materials being in it. So if you're streaming it, co-streaming it with some friends, you're enjoying the event, be mindful of what you let people hear, what you let people see, so you don't get the copyright infringement strikes.
Yeah, I just want to add, I'm looking at PCGamer.com as far as speculations of what could be shown. Again, these are just people guessing, but we may at least see some hints of what the new reformed Halo Studios looks like after they've unfortunately laid off a bunch of people and moved to the Unreal Engine. I doubt that they'll have a game to show off, but they may have some information about a broad roadmap for the new game. World's Edge, which is again from the people that made Age of Empires. In Age of Empires 2, they might have something to talk about. The Coalition, which is again the company behind Gears of War, E-Day, we might at least get a trailer for that. Compulsion Games, which just did South of Midnight. They may have some retrospective on that game. I just finished the game. Awesome game. Double Fine. I've been working on Psychonauts 2, I believe. They might have something to talk about. And The Initiative, which is another studio, which made the perfect dark game. They may have something as well to talk about. And then there's In Exile, Mojang Studios, and maybe another Minecraft property that's been partnered with somebody else to. I feel like it's Lego. Every time you just put Minecraft plus another thing, it equals an easy game to make. Ninja Theory, you might get a glimpse of Project Mara. Obsidian, the Outer Wars 2 thing you've already talked about. Playground Games. Finally, maybe we can get a release date for Fable. Hopefully it's this year, not next year. I feel like it keeps getting pushed off. Rare, which is last we saw of Everwild. Hopefully that you'll have some more information on that. Turn 10, which due for a new Forza Motorsport game. And Undead Labs, which is the one I'm looking forward to because they're working on State of Decay 3. Hopefully they have some at least some trailers and maybe some early game footage. I've really loved that game. And a bunch more, but I would recommend you guys go to PC Gamer, check out their predictions if you're that type of person who likes to have things spoiled for yourself or just be in the know. Last story we have, as far as news is concerned, is the AI that wasn't. And this is kind of a big story that's going on under the radar. And I only say big because it deals with two things, fraud and AI. And people might at this point think it's synonymous. Like one is when you say AI, you're already talking about fraud. But there is a company called Builder AI. I'm not sure if you guys remember that, but they came out a while ago, had a big, what is it called? Announcement. And Microsoft backed them to the, close to the tune of how much was it? A couple $100 million. Anyway, the company got about 1.5 billion once all was said and done from a bunch of investors. What's going wrong now, though, is that they might be filing for bankruptcy soon, and that's in part because of investigations for allegedly faking its AI services, and not just having bad language models that hallucinate and talk about white genocide in South Africa. These are just people in India that they claimed were AI. The gist of it starts with, and again, I'm getting the story thanks to coverage from our friends over at Windows Central. But Builder AI is facing a collapse amid allegations that its core AI services were fake. The company, which was promoted as a platform that uses AI to help everyone build an app with no coding knowledge, was reported using a large team of humans, engineers in India to carry out the work, rather than advance AI claims. The fake allegations are central to this whole investigation. Microsoft's involvement particularly was they had a strategic partnership with Builder AI, providing it with Azure cloud services and promoting it as an AI success story. Not good look. The collapse was a significant embarrassment for Microsoft and raises questions about its vetting process for AI partners. Microsoft is reportedly owed over $30 million in unpaid cloud computing fees because guess what? They didn't use the cloud to power these large language models. They just used humans to say, hey, your code looks good, your code doesn't look good. Here's some places they can change it. And then that also brings into a question the integrity of these developers and how vetted are their their code writing abilities. The financial collapse follows the revelations. The company's financial situation has deteriorated. One of its lenders, Viola Credit, seized $37 million from the company, and Builder AI has since filed for bankruptcy. That has led to over 500 employees unfortunately losing their jobs. I'm guessing most of those were those coders. There's now a federal investigation. The situation has prompted a federal investigation into the company's practices. I don't know where they're going to land as far as Microsoft's involvement in this, if they're going to, lump Microsoft in as part of the fraud claim, saying, hey, you knew about this or you did know about this, or to what extent did you know about this, and all the money that was claimed by the companies. What are your thoughts on this? Because you and I talked about this off mic, how this feels like the Amazon. What is their store called? Wasn't Whole? It was like a Whole Foods that they took over. I forget what it was called, but with the shopping experience where they had people who were watching other people shop, even though Amazon said it was basically AI and Amazon's sensors and magic, where you can go in and you don't need a human person in the store. You just basically scan your food, and we would use AI and sensors to basically say, hey, you are, this is how much you owe, pay with your credit card, and you can walk out. But we found out later on that it was just people in India watching other people shop and then tagging everything that they saw. So what are your thoughts on this sort of faking AI with, Indian or human Indian operatives?
Microsoft, I thought you were smarter than this. That's the first thing that comes to mind. And you guys have done 61 of these podcasts with me, not counting the ones that we've done with other outlets. I tend to tell you the first thing that comes to my mind. And when we were talking about this story and prepping for the pod here, that, just is what stayed in the back of my mind. I could see a small company falling for, hey, we got this great AI over here. Maybe it's inexpensive. Yes, we need this. We can advance forward. And behind the screen is, people doing things for you. It almost reminds me of some of these prank phone calls that you get these days, where you can hear the people talking in the background and you can hear different languages, but they're definitely American and they're definitely here to help you with your insurance claim or whatever it is. And that's the way this feels. I'm like, Microsoft, why did you fall in this? Did you, before you wrote the check, did you not investigate what this company had deep enough to know what resources they were using, what resources they needed, and maybe how they were operating? Instead, you just said, look, here's some Azure Cloud and here's some money. Well, if they're going to do that, I've got an AI project over here too. Don't you have one?
I have a big one, huge. Don't ask me how it works because it's all AI, but it's huge.
Don't you? You've got one too, and I'm sure you could use some financial backing.
Oh yeah, easily get this off the ground for a cool 10 million right off the bat.
And that's exactly what this feels to me. It boggled my mind when you told me about this story that they actually fell for this.
I mean, I get that you can fall for a company that has weird financial practices that, shuffles money. But this is the thing that you do. You do AI, you do small and large language models. I would assume the first thing you would do would be like, all right, if we're going to invest in you, if we're going to say you're a success story and you're the real thing, can we have a look at your model? See how it works? We'll do a non-compete, an NDA, whatever is necessary. But if we're going to invest upwards of $30 million, Microsoft is due $30 million of unpaid Azure. If we're going to extend that to you, can we at least see what the model looks like and how, to make sure that, hey, you're on the right track. It may not be as good as Copilot, but we believe in you guys. Or it's even better than Copilot, and we know you. Maybe we definitely want to partner with you because you guys are, on the road to success. And they come out and say, all right, Microsoft, if you look in that room over there, that's all our AI. Those 700 people sitting and looking at screens, that's our AI. Because at some point you got to show them the language model, and they didn't have one; they just had people. So you can't even fake that.
That's the part that bamboozles me just completely. Is if you didn't look at the structure of the business, if you didn't do a physical inspection of the business, the AI model, the language model, would be what you would ask to see. And when it's not produced or not produced in what, maybe they've got a small language model sitting over there to try to make themselves look legit. When it's not produced and doesn't match what you're investing into, you throw the bank account in reverse.
That you and I are right there in agreement. If we get some further information about this, we will report on it. We'll keep an eye on this to see if Microsoft can get their money back, or if they get dragged into this even further and get fraud claims put against them as well. Because, the people are going to ask the same questions we're asking. How much of it did you know? Because this seems like it's going to be really hard to fake. Last thing we got, and this is on a fun note, free play days. We love to include this for you guys going into the weekend, what you can and cannot do as far as game is concerned if you're on Game Pass or an Xbox fan.
You know what? I absolutely enjoy doing these, and I've actually noticed that you guys are reading them. I have noticed that that's one of our popular pages on our analytics that we keep, watching what you guys take a look at, what you guys don't. So I'm happy to put these together every week. And I noticed something
No. We do that with AI. We have a whole AI department that scours all the analytics that you guys are going. It's not one guy. Don't worry. Shh. And if Microsoft, if you're listening, we have an AI that scours gaming information. We will sell it to you. Or at least
I was going to say, didn't we write an AI model for that?
We did. Huge one. Huge. Big.
And speaking of AI, there was something I actually noticed this weekend, the free play days. Out of all the weeks that we've been covering this, Microsoft was very short on their posts about these this week. And, they didn't tell you like they normally do to, hey, go into your Microsoft membership or your Xbox membership and scroll down to benefits and scroll down to free play days to find your game. So I'm telling you that now. Microsoft kind of left that out. But to talk about the titles that we had some pretty cool stuff this week. You can laugh at me trying to struggle how to pronounce one of these. We have Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. You can conquer the battlefield in a game called Hell Let Loose. And you can also get a 2-hour free trial of A Little to the Left. And this one is for all Xbox members. It's just a 2-hour free trial. And as I always like to remind folks, during free play days, Microsoft does one heck of a job at discounting these titles. So at the end of the weekend, if you're kind of not looking forward to work next week and you need something a little positive and you're really enjoying your game, you can make that purchase. These are a little cheaper this week. A Little to the Left is only $7.49. Hell Let Loose is $24.99. And Dragon Ball Xenoverse is just $5.99. Now, as usual, these free play days started yesterday, June 5th, and they last through June 8th. So if you're looking something cool to do this weekend or just need a new title, you're tired of what you're currently playing, or you didn't get a Nintendo Switch 2 maybe, and you're just looking something to do, these are good titles to check out. I personally have played Hell Let Loose as a part of Game Pass. That's a pretty good game for you folks that like the, just get in and play fun shooters. It's not the run and gun Call of Duty. It's more World War II style. That's a pretty good game. I have not played the other two, so I may try those out this weekend. You guys can tell me if you've played the other two. What are they like? Do you enjoy them? Do you hate them? But anyway, that's it for free play days this week. We'll have another one for you next week.
Yeah, well, we know some of the gaming you're going to be doing, but if people want to reach out to you and talk to you about the gaming, where could they reach out to you at?
I am on Blue Sky. I am no longer, well, I'm not going to say I'm no longer on the other platforms. I still am signed in, but you can find me, David PAJ1978. Head over to Blue Sky. Let's talk about some gaming, talk about some tech. You're welcome to join into some of my games. As you know, over the past few weeks, I have become a big handheld gaming supporter. So if you want to jump in and play with me some late at night, you're welcome to do some Call of Duty. I do some Starfield over there. I play a little bit of everything on the handheld. So if you find me, tell me what you like.
Yeah, I will also be playing on my handheld. I don't have as busy of a weekend as I normally do. Because the girls are out of school and it's summer vacation, so things are gonna take a beat back, a little slower. We're still doing a bunch of stuff, but a little slower. I will be playing Shadow of Mordor because I'm on like the first level and I can't beat it, and I've been doing that for like 4 hours now. I suck at stealth, which apparently this is big on the game, so I got to work on that. The other game I'll be playing is Tom Clancy's The Division 2. You can get it from what is the company that makes it? Activision, I think. Not Activision. I forget.
Doesn't Epic Games make?
No. I want to say it's
no. It's the folks that make Rainbow Six. What's the name of the company?
That's a good question. Whoever
they're based here in North Carolina, and I cannot even remember the name of the company.
Oh, I mean, hey, this is what the computer and the internet are for. Or AI, if you were to ask. Let's see who makes The Division while we are stalling.
I've even been to their office, and I can Red Storm.
There we go. But what is the name of the big?
Yeah, what's the name of it? Help me out here. You're
It's
AI
Massive
over there.
Entertainment, but they are
It's a Tom Clancy game.
Tom Clancy game. Ubisoft.
You dang it. I've been at
I was drawing a blank too, but anyway, I said
That's
all that
right,
to say
because
this.
Ubisoft bought Red Storm, and they're local to me. They're just up the road, and I went several years ago just to check the place out when they were still Red Storm, and then Ubisoft bought Red Storm. Oh boy!
I said all that to say, if you go to, you can get it. You can play it on Xbox. I believe you need to pay for it. Right now, I think it's $24.99 on Xbox. I don't know for which edition that is, but it seems like if you go onto the Ubisoft store, and again, if you have a handheld, you can do that with or PC. You can do it by going, downloading the Ubisoft app itself. But you can get the game for almost $4, the standard edition, like whatever the base game is. If you've never played it, it's a well spent $4. The game is awesome. But they've been adding DLCs to it. And I think they got a new one, which is a Brooklyn-based one, if I'm not mistaken. And I think if you pay for the $24.99 version on Xbox, that's the one that you get as well with the DLC. If you go to the Ubisoft store, I think that one also is like $23.99 to get the Washington, D.C. and the New York one. So there's expansive maps and new goal sets and new enemy types. The game is quite old, but they keep adding these new advancements to it. I'd say it's, again, for under $30, it's a really good game to go back and play. It feels still pretty fresh. So that'll be the other game I'm playing this weekend. You can find me at Happy Hulk on Blue Sky if you want to talk about politics, comics, or gaming. If you just want to talk about gaming, you can find me at Kareem Anderson on Threads. I don't go there very often, but that is where I typically do just gaming. Other than that, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us on a relatively short week for Microsoft, at least as far as news is concerned. We will be back next week, obviously, with more Microsoft news. If there's anything to break over the weekend, maybe we'll put something up as well. But other than that, we want you guys to go out and enjoy your weekend, touch some grass, enjoy the weather if you can. If not, enjoy the indoors, make your favorite meal, drink your favorite drink, listen to your favorite song. And we will talk to you next week.
Have a good weekend, folks. Thanks for watching and listening.
Cortana sings like a hero in this code we play.